What's up, superhero fans? Welcome back to Supes Disputes, first Supes Disputes of 2021. Me and Brad are happy to be back, but this is the show where I sit down with Brad Lambert, producer, talent manager, industry insider, and mega fan. And boy, oh boy, are we excited to talk about all of the awesome stuff that's going down behind the scenes over at Marvel Studios right now. First off, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. This is the first episode of the year, and right now, me and Brad are actively working towards getting this show available for you to listen, just the audio, as we're transitioning this over into a podcast. With that being said, with all of the topics we're set to talk about in today's episode, make sure to engage with the content. This is a show that isn't just about me and Brad talking, it's about all of us talking and having the greater conversation. A show by the fans, for the fans. So make sure to engage in the comment sections, duet the content over there on TikTok. And now it's time to get started. We're gonna start off today's show by talking about Chris Evans coming back as Captain America. Brad, when you got this notification on your phone, I was spamming you with FaceTime calls as soon as I got this notification. What was your reaction?
Not surprised, honestly. I'm obviously very excited. You and I have been speculating at how we could possibly see him return and for what. And those ideas have me extremely excited, especially with the success of Disney Plus and The Mandalorian. I think we'll see the success with the Disney Plus Marvel shows. But Chris Evans coming back, they're saying feature films, but they're also teasing maybe some Disney Plus involvement. So, yeah, I think we're in for a treat.
Dude, when I got this notification, I was in the middle of a GameStop and I dropped my phone. I was like, what? What is happening? I went up to the GameStop employee. I was like, yo, you like Marvel? And she's like, yeah. And then I'm like, Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America. Like, I was literally telling everyone in my vicinity that Chris Evans was coming back as Captain America. And it was just so surreal to read that headline, because this is something that we've talked about so many different times, and it's something that makes sense. Again,
it does.
Guys, even though we had an amazing ending to both the story of Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow and Avengers Endgame, moving forward, we've always said that somewhere down the line, Chris Evans is going to come back. Robert Downey Jr. will come back at one point. We just got to give them time to, pursue other projects at this point in their lives. But moving forward, it's already happening. They got Chris Evans, an actor who swore on his life that he was done with Captain America, to come back and play this character once more. And at this point in the game, we don't know how many movies or projects he's coming back for. It's said in the reports that he's likely going to play a role similar to how Robert Downey Jr. played a role in Captain America Civil War. So it's very unlikely that he's going to get another installment on another film, another Disney Plus series of his own. But again, at this point, anything can happen. So that's not out of the question. But as of right now, it's looking like he's going to be playing like a supporting character role moving forward. And again, we don't know how many projects he's going to be in. But moving forward, Brad, do you think he's going to come back and be Old Man Cap? Or are they going to bring back the Captain America we know and love?
I think it could be a mix of both. I think it's a major disservice to completely remove Cap, Steve Rogers, from the MCU, fully knowing he's alive. It's not like he died, right? Yeah. He's just an old man. And with his experiences and just talents, I think he could be of use and helpful with whether it be Shield or Sword or the Avengers, kind of like Overwatch, like the guy on the mic giving, shout outs. He'll have to compete with Ned for that job, but the guy in the chair. No, but I think we'll see him as Old Man Cap again, which I think would be fantastic. But I would love to see him come back as Captain America. And the way to do that, I don't think it's going to be in the future, at least not right away. I think, like we talked about, a Disney Plus series where he returns the Infinity Stones. I think there's so much storytelling that could go into that. Yeah. I, for one, was disappointed with the goodbye between Cap and Iron Man. Yeah. There was no emotional, like Peter, like Pepper, like Rhodey. Yeah. Cap stood 30 feet away and just had tears in his eyes.
It was so aggravating because,
yeah.
That's the relationship that this entire universe was built on. And we never got to see an
Yeah.
ending to that relationship.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the main thing too, looking at this, is in a Disney Plus series, I think the one thing that we can do is um have Cap return the stones. But imagine him going back to Avengers 1 in New York to return the stone, right? And he
Yeah.
runs into Tony. And Tony thinking it's the Cap from his time,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. And Cap having that emotional one-on-one with him,
Dude,
right?
almost like this, in the same way that Tony had that one-on-one with his dad in Endgame.
Exactly,
Just
exactly.
like
And I
that.
think I think that would be so powerful and also hilarious because for me, sorry, I dropped something.
You're good.
I think for me, it would be hilarious because Tony would be like so confused because at that
Yeah.
point, him and Cap are not tight. They were very volatile. They were hostile towards each other. I mean, 20 minutes before the battle in New York, they were about to
Put
fight
on the
each other.
suit.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I think Cap having an emotional, like, thank you, I appreciate you, I love you moment with him, I think would be hilarious, but also at the same time, much needed for fans who didn't
Yeah.
get that closure. Um, but like you said, Tony had that with Howard because he went back in time. And I think that was really special. So there are so many moments like that where I think we could have, him seeing Red Skull again. I mean, my
Yeah,
gosh,
dude.
there's so much storytelling that can still happen. We're not changing the ending, which was so perfect for him and Peggy, but
Mm-hmm.
we are elaborating to the point that led to that, right?
For
There
sure.
are giant gaps of time in between these films and these projects, which now with Disney Plus, we're able to have those moments and we don't have to question, wow, I wonder what happened. We'll know. And that's what's so brilliant about the Disney Plus series.
Yeah. And again, like you said, like Disney Plus is literally going to fill in the gaps that they couldn't fill from the past. Now, just that whole arc of Captain America going back to Return the Stones, that is always going to be one of the biggest questions in the entire MCU moving forward. Fans will always have that question. What actually happened? What went down? Did Cap reunite with Red Skull? What happened? So that is always going to be a big question moving forward, but it doesn't have to be a question anymore. They can answer that with Disney Plus. And again, with Disney kind of moving all, just more and more content to Disney Plus rather than theaters. You know what's one of the biggest ways to get people to sign up for Disney Plus? Say you're bringing back Captain America for his own Disney Plus series. I mean,
And look,
how successful was Star Wars with the season finale of The Mandalorian? How many fans, how many people signed up for Disney Plus when they heard Luke Skywalker's in The Mandalorian? What?
yeah,
So
yeah. And
I see Marvel doing something very similar.
I love what Kevin said about WandaVision. He said, we could never do a feature like this, ever. But with Disney Plus, it's a different way of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right. And that's why these projects are so powerful. Not only are we going to get those filler moments where we'll be able to find out what happened between this and that, but we're also going to expand storytelling, introduce new characters. You're not going to have characters just pop up in films anymore. They're going to be established in the Disney Plus series and then bleed into the MCU feature films.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to Cap's involvement, another outlet for him to possibly re-enter is the multiverse. I mean, right now
100%.
with WandaVision, it seems like they're setting up their universe to really dive deep into the multiverse in Spider-Man 3, which we're going to talk about a bit later. But in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that's literally going to be an entire movie where they dive deep into the multiverse. And again,
Yes.
we've said this in the past, with the multiverse, anything is possible. So Brad,
100%.
what do you think? What do you think are the chances that we see Captain America return with the multiverse?
I mean, I think, like you said, with the multiverse, anything is possible. I think we could see multiple variations of the same character, like we did in Endgame. It wasn't the multiverse, but it was time travel. You had two Caps on screen at once. So I think with the multiverse, you can have multiple versions of the characters, different versions of the characters.
Yeah.
But to me, it's thinking about like, how would that make sense, right? Why in a multiverse setting, how would that work, right? Whereas we immediately went to the Disney Plus series of Returning the Stones. That makes a ton of sense. Old Man Cap makes a ton of sense because he's not dead, guys.
Yeah.
He's there. He's just retired and old. So I think with the multiverse setting, it's very possible. I would love that. But I think with Secret Wars coming up, he could be Captain America, but a Skrull.
Hmm.
We don't know. So, sorry, Secret Wars and Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
That storyline's opening up now. So I think there's a lot of possibility for a lot of characters that we haven't seen, a lot of characters that who have passed on, a lot of characters that retired come back because of that. So yeah, man, I mean, it's the possibilities are endless, and I can't wait to see what they do. But the fact that Chris Evans, by the way, who is a known prankster, by the way, so for him to say news to me, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
like that's so Chris.
Yeah, a ton of people are like denouncing and denying the reports because he made that tweet. But what people don't understand is that actors are literally doing this all the time. Tatiana Maslany denied all the reports, saying that it's not even a real thing that she was cast as She-Hulk
Yeah.
on Disney Investor Day. Kevin Feige walked out and said, "Now to unveil the casting for She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany." Same thing with Haley
Yep.
Steinfeld. When the Haley Steinfeld
Yep.
rumors came out at the beginning, she denounced the reports. And now look, right now she's filming Hawkeye with Jeremy Renner. So it's very common for actors to do this all the time in order to avoid things from getting leaked. So like that Marvel can make the official announcement later on. But
Properly too.
exactly, properly.
You
So,
know.
Chris made that tweet. A ton of people are denying the reports, but guys, it's happening. Believe it. Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America. And, Brad, when it comes to this subject, I'm kind of torn on it. The reason I'm torn on it is because Captain America is my favorite MCU character, and I always knew that at some point we would get Chris Evans back in the MCU playing Captain America, and I've always wanted to see that. And with Marvel kind of introducing so many different characters, we know at some point they're going to bring this entire universe together to just completely overthrow Avengers Endgame as the biggest movie of all time.
100%.
Once they have their Fantastic Four, their X-Men, their Avengers, their Young Avengers, their entire universe. Once they bring that whole universe together in a big movie to overthrow Avengers Endgame as the biggest movie of all time, I don't see that movie happening without Captain America leading the pack. And not Falcon's Captain America, Steve Rogers' Captain America,
100%.
the heart of this universe. And I would never want to see that movie without both Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. Because again, they were the foundations of this universe. And yes, they had amazing endings in Avengers Endgame. But damn, I want to see Iron Man talk to Reed Richards. I want to see the Avengers, Captain America and Iron Man talk to the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Young Avengers. I want to see those interactions. And I don't think that Kevin Feige would assemble that movie and make that movie happen without Chris Evans' Captain America and Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man in that film.
And not only with the multiverse, but with time travel, I mean, Kevin has given himself multiple ways to
bring
make that
characters
happen.
back. Yeah. But then on the flip side of things, I really love the way they're taking Falcon's character and evolving him into the new Captain America. And again, if you're bringing Chris Evans back, he's most likely going to come back as like an old man Cap. That's what I think is the most likely scenario. But, now we're seeing toy sets get leaked for Falcon and the Winter Soldier as that comes out in March. And we're seeing Falcon in his new Captain America suit. And it looks amazing. And now I'm seeing all these toy sets of Falcon as the new Captain America. And it looks so amazing. But then I'm also hearing reports that Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America. And I think if you really bring back Chris as like the Cap we know and love from Endgame, where he's like in his prime, that's just gonna completely overthrow and overshadow Falcon's arc that we're gonna see play out in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So after Endgame, Cap passed down the mantle of Captain America to Falcon. Falcon is the new Captain America. And as much as I want to see Chris Evans coming back as Captain America and lead the pack in that eventual Avengers Endgame-esque movie, now moving forward, there's a new Captain America in town. So Brad, how do you which side are you leaning to right now?
We also don't know what's going to happen with Mackey's Captain America. He could get the mantle and die in the next movie. And then there's no Captain America. So Chris Evans returning as the Captain America isn't far-fetched then, right? Then
Yeah.
nobody's competing with anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't want to look too far ahead or make assumptions, but we don't know what the plans are, and that's a beautiful
Facts.
thing. But also, wouldn't it be epic to have not old man, but old Cap from Endgame next to the new Mackie Captain America? Like, wouldn't that be epic? I mean, there are so many options, but I totally hear what you're saying. I get it. It makes sense. But at the same time, when Kevin Feige's in charge, man, we have no
Game,
idea what
set,
kind of cards he has up his sleeve,
match.
man. Exactly.
So,
Legend.
Brad, now moving over to Marvel's debut on Disney Plus. It's
Let's
been
go.
2 years, dude. July 2019 since we last got Marvel content, and this past weekend we've gotten a new piece of Marvel content, which is the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, now streaming on Disney Plus. I want to make it very clear: if you're watching this, listening to this, if you haven't seen WandaVision, get out right now. Get out right now, because me
Spoilers.
and Brad are going to go deep into spoilers. And I want to give a huge shout out to everyone tuning in with me and Brad over at the live watch party that I hosted here on my YouTube channel. It was so awesome to see so many fans come together from across the globe. Like, we literally had people from Saudi Arabia, Belgium, Australia, like it felt like the entire world was in our live stream, and we were all watching WandaVision together. And it was such an amazing experience. And me and Brad and the Cosmic Wonder are going to be coming back together and hosting another watch party for episode 3. Like I said, this is the beginning of Marvel's takeover on Disney Plus, and we're going to show up every single time to celebrate and enjoy all of their awesome projects. So now moving forward to talking about WandaVision. Before we get into talking about WandaVision, actually, I want to give a huge shout out to Disney and Marvel Studios for hooking your boy up with some WandaVision merch. Shout out to Disney, Marvel, everyone involved, because you got me right for the live stream. But now to dive deep into the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. Brad, what are your initial thoughts, initial reactions to WandaVision?
I can't tell you how happy I was to hear that Marvel theme music and also have that opening title sequence, which was updated with a lot of footage from
Yes, sir.
Avengers Endgame and the MCU as a whole. That just made me so tremendously happy, because that's just it's iconic. It's part of our life. So seeing that, hearing that, made me so happy. And then diving into WandaVision, what a unique, quirky show this
Crazy.
is. I mean, and understanding that it's not real. It's not a sitcom, right? This is a pocket reality that Wanda or somebody else has created. So get that out of your mind. Like, move on past the way it's shot, the way it's filmed, and understand the story, the bigger story that's happening. And if you do that, you have a greater appreciation for what's actually happening. Because, man, I've rewatched it, I've watched it. I'm diving into the little details that Marvel and Disney have sprinkled into these episodes, and it's genius. Like, it is the characters that they've created, the intrigue that grows with each passing minute. I mean, I cannot wait for Friday to watch the next episode.
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. Just first of all, hearing that Marvel intro, seeing the logo form, man. Like like it's just like a feeling you can't explain. It's like a bodily reaction to seeing and hearing that intro form on the screen, because Marvel is finally back after this
Back.
entire crazy year of 2020, and now leading into 2021. Marvel is back, and what a way to come back with these first 2 episodes of WandaVision. First of all,
Amen.
the number one thing that stood out was that this is the most different thing Marvel has ever done. Going into the show, we all heard the reactions of, oh, this is the boldest risk that Marvel has ever taken. And they've literally made a movie with plus 60 plus characters. So when I heard the boldest risk Marvel has taken, I'm gonna have to see this for myself. And after watching these first 2 episodes, I agree with that. This is something that's completely new, completely different. And for all of the people that are complaining about the sitcom style and just the way it's shot and filmed, I don't want to hear you on social media when everyone's talking about the season finale of WandaVision when that comes around. Because again, this series is starting off sitcom style, but we're moving over and transitioning as the series progresses back to that classic MCU thriller style action that we're accustomed to seeing. So if you're going to hop off the train now, don't hop back on later because WandaVision is a ride that's meant to be taken from the 50s and 60s to the 70s, 80s, 90s,
To the
2000s
present.
to the present day. That's what this show
Yeah.
is all about. And again, like you said, Brad, none of this is real. And there's a mystery to that. They've done such a great job in building the mystery in these first two episodes, and it's progressively getting more mysterious. As in the first episode, Wanda has that first kind of just like spaz out moment where she's just questioning what's really going on here with that dinner scene. Then in the next episode, we had her inspecting the helicopter, the radio scene with her and Dottie, and then at the end with the sword agent coming out of the sewer. So now moving over into episode 3, we can expect more of this happening as they're continuing to build the mystery. And you know, Brad, after that watch party, man, and after just these past couple of days where we've gotten a couple of days to breathe and break down and dissect these first two episodes, dude, I've never seen Marvel put this many small little details for fans to pick out, for fans
Genius.
to find the Easter eggs in all of this. Like literally to this day, like it's been a couple days and I'm still finding new Easter eggs on Twitter and on social
100%.
media of people finding. So just the amount of detail that went into this series is just absolutely insane. And I cannot applaud the performances of both Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany enough. They are so good in this series. And, you know, going into this series, one of my biggest worries was, okay, so Wanda and Vision are two side characters. They aren't big enough to get their own movie, but now Marvel is trusting them to get the spotlight for their own series. And the fact that this series is going to set up movies like Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which have been described as Avengers Endgame level movies, that's a lot of pressure on both Wanda and Vision. Like, does Marvel really? That's bold of Marvel to put all of that pressure on these two supporting characters. But now, after watching these first two episodes, man, I cannot applaud them enough because Wanda and Vision were both great. I was just so entertained by their performances and the way both Wanda and Vision bounced off each other. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we can expect that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier because Mackie and Sebastian Stan just have that bumping heads relationship that's just so entertaining. And we can expect that going into the series. But I didn't expect to be as entertained as I was with the performances of both Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany after watching these first two episodes.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about all the Easter eggs, it's not Easter eggs just for fan service, right? This is Easter eggs for the purpose of storytelling, right? So the first episode, we had the Stark Industries toaster, right, which had the blinking red light, which is very interesting, and also the repulsor sounds of Iron Man's, blasters. The second episode, we had the Strucker watch, who turned her into Scarlet Witch, experimented on her with the Mind Stone, right? So everything's tying back to Wanda's story, right? So the Stark toaster with the blinking light resembles maybe a tie back to the bomb that killed her family,
Yeah.
that had the Stark name on the side of it, right? Then you go to Strucker, who made her the gifted mutant that she is, right? So the storytelling is just so good. And then you have her nosy neighbor, Agnes, which I think we all believe is Agatha Harkness. And we all know who Agatha Harkness serves, right? Mephisto. And I think, Supes, you and I have talked about this. I think that's the big bad man of this show. I think he's pulling the strings behind the scenes. I think he's giving Wanda some string to let her create her own reality. But at the same time, he's still controlling the whole thing. So when she steps out of line or does something that she shouldn't be doing, that's when he manipulates the setting, the scene, the characters. Because when that sword agent comes in and he's dressed as a beekeeper, let's be real, he's not dressed as a beekeeper, right? But he makes them look so menacing and so evil that Wanda has to put her foot down and change the reality so it's safe again, right? So I think there's so much intrigue to each and every episode. The mystery is growing, the details, the helicopter, the choking scene at dinner. There's such a weird like creepy aspect to it.
Yeah.
You're like, what is happening? And I think that aspect of it is, I think everyone in this town is being manipulated and controlled, Wanda included. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. Can't wait for Friday. But the bigger story here is, you and I have talked about it. Wanda is getting her dream reality. Whether she knows this is happening or not is to be determined. But when she finds out that this is all a facade and none of it's real, and by the end of it, I think we understand that she's going to get her kids. She has Vision back. She has the best life ever, right? And we all know she's one of the most battle damaged characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Her path, her story, her life has been difficult. So now she has the best life ever, and it's going to get stripped away from her. And I don't know how she's going to handle that.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be pretty, and that's something we know is inevitable. Wanda being stripped of this dream life that she has in this fake alternate reality. And Brad, you're going with Mephisto as the main villain, and I 100% back that up. Many times in this show, we heard different people talking about the devil. We still have Agnes talking about this mysterious Ralph character who's her husband. And you've alluded to him potentially being Doctor Strange. And I think that makes a lot of sense, considering the fact that we were just thrown into this alternate reality, not knowing how it was created. If an alternate reality is created on Earth, you don't think Doctor Strange is going to show up to that call because he's tasked with protecting the multiverse? So my theory.
And on that note, real quick, the Ralph thing, I think it's either Strange or Mephisto.
Yeah, same.
But the other thing, I thought today, she's been carrying around this rabbit in a cage. What if Strange is the rabbit in the cage?
Why does that make so much sense? Like she turned them into a rabbit and like just is caged, like literally caging him. He's locked up.
Yeah, he's a prisoner.
Dude. And that's another thing too, is that when things enter this alternate reality, they change. The Sorge entered and he was a beekeeper. The helicopter entered, it was a toy.
Yeah.
Strange entered and they made him a rabbit.
Imagine Strange.
Dude, that'd be wild, bro.
He transforms from the rabbit into Strange. Like something happens and Wanda figures out, because there's no way Agatha is turning the rabbit back into Strange.
Yeah.
So there has to be a moment where the rabbit is acting a certain way or something that's laying, hints or clues to Wanda to wake him up. But imagine she keeps carrying around this rabbit in this cage. If Strange is ultimately a prisoner in this reality, that would be crazy.
Bro, that would be wild. Imagine like at the end of the show, Agnes is just like beating Wanda down. Wanda's like about to like die, and then you just see this bunny hop on screen, and it just transforms into Doctor Strange.
Hey, let's not forget the rat that saved the universe in Avengers Endgame.
Dude, just the whole squad. Have the whole animal feline crew pull
the animal kingdom. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the animal kingdom, the whole squad. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I didn't even think about that. That's an awesome theory. And another thing that kind of stood out to me in that second episode more, because it felt like in the first episode it was just more of like all right, the MCU's back. Let's see Paul Bettany at his best. Let's see Elizabeth Olsen at her best. But it seems like they really started to build the story with that second episode. And I think it was super important. Like the scene that really stood out to me was when, it was after the helicopter scene where Agnes and Wanda are walking down the street, and Agnes stops Wanda in her tracks and she gives her a pep talk, like a serious pep talk about this Dottie character, and saying how, and I quote, she said, "She's the key to everything in this town." And again, nothing in the show is unintentional. Agnes stopping Wanda to give her a serious pep talk about Dottie, that's important. And then, Agnes is talking to Wanda and she's telling her to mind your P's and Q's, keep your opinions to yourself, and just do what you can to make Dottie happy. And then Wanda responds with, "Or I could just be myself." And there's literally like a solid 2 to 3 seconds where Agnes is just staring at her like, and then she laughs hysterically, laughing it off. So again, there's obviously some mystery behind the Ralph character, but there's also some mystery around this Dottie character because she's been described as the key to everything in this town. So my theory is that, again, I agree with you. Mephisto is the big bad in all of this. But what if Mephisto is disguised as Dottie in this weird, just alternate reality? I know that'd be kind of wild, and there's some scenes where it leads me to believe that isn't really the thing. But again, I can't just let go of the fact that they've put so much, just like so much important and significance on this Dottie character for her to just not carry any weight in the story.
So backing up real quick, Agnes pops up at interesting moments all the time.
Yeah.
There's a purpose. She's always there. Always. She's always in the shadows. She's always there when she needs to be. So Wanda leaves the house to go inspect that noise and finds the helicopter, which she's looking at and is really diving in like, what is this? And, really trying to look at all the details. And who interrupts her from looking at the helicopter? Agnes. So she distracts her from what's happening. So she puts down the helicopter and starts focusing on Agnes. And that's when Agnes walks her and is once again master of misdirection, right? So don't worry about me. You got to worry about Dottie. Dottie's the key to everything. I don't think Dottie is, in my opinion, I don't think she's anybody. I think this is a pure distraction from, she's trying to get Wanda out of her own head. Like you said, Wanda's like, I'll just be myself. And Agnes is like, no, don't do that. Just play along. Play along. You got to do whatever Dottie says, right? And even the moment where Dottie breaks the glass, you can see in that split moment, she kind of snaps out of this mind control almost, and then she snaps right back into it. So I feel like everybody in this town is mind controlled. Also, everything's for the children, right?
Yeah.
How many children did you see in these first 2 episodes?
None, dude. Zero.
So it's a neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the kids?
Yeah.
0 kids.
Yeah, that's something we
all
talked
these
about.
families and housewives. Yeah, all these housewives and families, and there's
all,
no kids.
Exactly. It's all being planted into her head. We heard Vision specifically ask her about kids in that first episode. And then in the second episode, people keep on chanting, for the kids, for the kids. There's no kids anywhere. We haven't seen any kids. And, now moving forward, Wanda's obviously pregnant with Wiccan and Speed. So that's going to be super interesting to see how that unfolds. But another one of like the bigger mysteries in episode 2 was the character of Monica Rambeau. Introduced herself as Geraldine. She clearly doesn't have, she clearly doesn't remember things. So that leads me to believe that when people enter this alternate reality, they don't remember, like they lose their memory. The same way Wanda did lose her memory. The same way Vision is just a figment of the reality. But the same way Wanda lost her memory, and then now Monica Rambeau, she doesn't remember who she is. And I think now in the next episode, we've always continuously seen in these trailers where she shows up and she's wearing that sword necklace, and Wanda sees that and literally throws her out of the reality. So we're going to see that in the next episode because Wanda is wearing, it is like 70s, and she's, she has a bigger belly at that point. So I'm super excited to see that in the next episode. But maybe the reason Monica has that sword necklace is so like that she can remember she is a sword agent in that alternate reality. And like, what do you think about that and just Monica Rambeau in this entire episode and how she's going to play into things?
So Wanda is continually seeing that logo everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all around her. It's on the helicopter. It's on the back of the beekeeper. It's going to be on Monica's necklace. But the way the reality is showing these things is it's things Wanda doesn't understand. And you always fear what you don't understand. So anytime Wanda sees this now, it is a negative, fearful reaction to seeing that symbol, which is probably why she throws Monica Rambeau out of the reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, I think Monica Rambeau gets her powers when she passes through the reality. That's my prediction. And I also feel like, they've talked about the House of M being a nice kind of comparable to this story, I think it's going to be the opposite. Instead of Wanda killing and removing all the mutants, I think she's going to create all the mutants.
Yeah, and that's certainly been a popular theory, because because they haven't even mentioned mutants, and we now know moving forward that the X-Men are coming, the Fantastic Four, and other mutants are going to be involved in the future of the MCU. Wanda could easily end this show by saying more mutants instead of no more mutants, and then boom,
Yeah.
just like that, you have superhumans all over the rest of the MCU. So the ending of the show is certainly going to be a spectacle. Again, something that sets up Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But before we look to that season finale, Brad, let's look to the next episode. Episode 3, something we're going to be over here on the YouTube, back over here on YouTube, watching it live, speculating, experience it for the first time live. Brad, what are your expectations or theories for episode 3 of WandaVision?
I think the intrigue and the mystery is going to continue to grow. I think, as we've seen from episode 1 to episode 2, more and more instances are happening where Wanda begins to question if this is real. And I think with episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc., I feel like it's going to get to the point where the bubble bursts. And that is where they're going to kind of realize that this is fake, etc., and move on. But I think in this next episode, we're going to get maybe more instances of where Wanda's like, this is not real. This is weird. Something's not right. Mm-hmm. And I think that mystery and intrigue and kind of uncertainty is going to build. And once again, now she's a mother, right? She's pregnant. So now she might be even more determined to protect not only herself and Vision, but her kids, which makes her extra dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So I can't wait, man. I mean, obviously we now have color in the episodes as we grow throughout the years. But yeah, I think I have a watchful eye on Agnes. She's the key to everything right now.
And that's the thing, that everyone is already suspect about Agnes just because she pops up when it's so convenient. And it's not obvious to Wanda. It's obvious to us. And now, and the show is designed that way. So now moving forward, I think we're going to see more of Agnes. Again, I think we're going to see more things from her that allude to her having a bigger role and playing a bigger, more villainous role towards the end of this series. I also think we're actually going to get some more of Sword, like some actual background of what Sword's intentions are in all of this. Maybe that's where we get to see the FBI agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp. We know he's in this show. Maybe some Darcy. Who knows? But again, one thing that's for certain is that we are getting that scene with Monica and Wanda where she throws her out of the reality. So I think we're gonna get the back end of that scene where Sword actually gets Monica and they question her, and we actually get to start to see some actual characters and backstory behind Sword and what their intentions are and how they're going to play a role in this series. And again, we also have the twins on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if Wanda has the kids by the end of the episode because of the way the show is progressing.
Yeah, or start off with them. Who knows?
Dude, it's going to be wild. That's all I know. And
we talked about this separately is, okay, if Mephisto is the one pulling the strings, the question is why? To what end? What is the purpose of manipulating and controlling Wanda? Obviously, there's the comic book storylines of him wanting the twins, her kids. So is that the end game of this series? Is that what Mephisto's trying to do? But yeah, I really can't wait because there's so many questions right now that are left unanswered. So that is something that I can't wait to dive more into for sure.
So guys, with that being said, let us know in the comments, duet the content over there on TikTok regarding your thoughts on WandaVision and what are your theories and speculations for episode 3 and who the villain is in this show. So now moving forward, it's time to talk about Spider-Man 3. Oh my God. We actually have some actual concrete information. This isn't theories. This isn't speculation. These are pictures, set photos, and actual live video footage of the set of Spider-Man 3 and what they're doing over there. So Brad, we got some new set photos showcasing Tom in his beautiful Spider-Man Far From Home suit with a few minor upgrades,
Yes.
which make the suit even look better in this movie. Which they're improving perfection, which is just crazy to me because we both
Facts.
love that suit so much. So
Yes.
we have some set pictures regarding Spider-Man 3. We actually have an entire scene of Peter walking into a donut shop that MJ and Ned are working at, and then he chokes from asking MJ out, and then he walks out, just with a coffee that she gave him. So Brad, we're starting to see some actual very interesting things that are concrete that we know are going to play a role in Spider-Man 3. We also have some set photos that reveal that the city of New York is going to be divided. There's going to be some people that still believe Mysterio and what he said, and there's going to be some people that are just trying to defend Spidey because they believe he's innocent. And then to wrap all of this up, Spider-Man in Christmas. Spider-Man
Greatest Christmas movie ever.
Great. Now Iron Man 3, which you have the poster in the back, that is not the only Christmas Marvel movie anymore. Spider-Man 3 is taking place during Christmas. That is confirmed from the set photos. So Brad, what are your thoughts on all of the set photos from Spider-Man 3 and what it means for the movie?
Look, it's so good to see actual footage, something concrete. I love the Christmas vibe. I love the snow. Obviously, playing Miles Morales on the PS5 was just incredible because of the weather. Right? They had the snow, the snowfall, the holiday vibes. So I think this film taking place during that timeline, could be a lot of fun. Seeing Zendaya and Tom, and I believe Ned also works in that little coffee shop bakery. So they're all going to be together, which is amazing. But that red and black suit, I told you, one of the best suits ever. So I would love to see it improved. I don't want to immediately see a brand new suit, which I think will probably happen anyway, because that's just how the movies go. But yeah, it was good to see that they didn't immediately move on from that red and black suit.
Yeah, I mean, the suit is gorgeous, and I love how they made a few like minor upgrades. Like with the utility belt, there's no more stripes on the utility belt. It's more like pointed down. So it's a darker shade of red than the suit that we got in Spider-Man Far From Home. So my biggest thing is I hope and pray to God that they don't like CGI the suit as much as they did in Far From Home, because the suit already looks freaking amazing. It's already perfection. So I just hope that they just like take it a notch down with the CGI for the suit. And, overall, these set photos look great. We actually see Tom Holland's real life brother, Harry Holland, on set. He's wired up, and he's gonna have a cameo or maybe even play a role in this movie. I think he'll just have a cameo, be like a random citizen, because we saw like a set photo of him getting flipped. I think we could potentially see him getting mixed into like a battle scene where Tom or Spidey has to like get him out
to save him.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like, how many fans would just say, "That's Tom's brother"? Spidey just saved Tom's brother, Harry.
And we talked about this earlier. Tom's friend Tuwain was actually the police officer in Far From Home, where he was wearing the Iron Spider suit. So I'm not surprised that Harry's now getting his screen time.
Certainly, Harry is getting his screen time. But then we also got probably the biggest thing out of all this Spider-Man 3 news, an actual scene where we see Peter walking down a street. He's reading off a card, practicing his lines, and then he walks into the donut shop where both MJ and Ned work at. And instead of asking her out, he just gets so nervous that he chokes. Instead, he asks for a coffee. MJ gives him the coffee, and then he just walks out of the donut shop. Brad, this scene, I love everything about this scene, dude. This scene screams Peter Parker. When I saw 100%. This go down, when I saw the set photos and I read the descriptions of the scene, it brought me back to that scene in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 where Peter and Gwen are in the hallway and it's just like super awkward between them two, between the both of them. And then like Peter asks her out, but like not really, but they actually end up going out. So Brad, what are your thoughts on this whole scene?
Like you said, they nailed Peter Parker in this scene. I mean, he is awkward. He doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself, which is hilarious because he's Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And he's also very nervous because he's in love with MJ. So you love to see it. I mean, I'm excited to see how they kind of explore this relationship more, knowing what happened in Far From Home and how
Mhm.
that ended, how MJ is mixed up in between all the stuff with Spidey and Peter. Um, yeah, it could get interesting if once again, we all know how this works. Once certain bad guys find out who you're in love with and who's close to you, they become targets. So,
Yep. Yep.
yikes.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild, man. And again, just seeing like them really go back to like the roots of the Peter Parker character, where he's just so nervous. He's reading off a card. Like that is one of the most relatable things you could ever put in a movie. Peter reading off a
100%.
card, just practicing his lines to ask out MJ. That's so relatable, and that's why Spider-Man is the most popular character, because of his ability, or because of his relatability to the masses. So I
Bingo.
love this scene, and I see a ton of people online jumping the gun saying, wait, weren't they dating at the end of Far From Home? And then they're just like going ahead and they're theorizing that Doctor Strange erased everyone's mind, so MJ doesn't remember that her and Peter are a thing. Guys,
What?
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that online, dude. For what I have to say to those people that are speculating and jumping the gun, I love the energy, I love the speculations, but guys, Peter and MJ just started dating, like at the end of Far From Home. Like their relationship is still so fresh. So it would
They
make
just
sense.
started holding hands, guys. Relax.
Yeah, like it would make sense for Peter to still be super nervous to ask out MJ. And MJ is already super awkward as it is. So he's gonna be even more nervous. And so is she, because she's in a way is insecure about herself. So
Totally.
put them together, it's just pure awkwardness. So expect to see more of that in this movie. It's not that they just started dating and now they're not awkward anymore. They're not nervous about each other anymore. There's still gonna be some of that in this movie. So another thing that was super interesting from these Spider-Man 3 set photos was a picture of a newsstand. And this newsstand contained two very interesting posters. One that had Mysterio on it, and it said, I believe, and then the purpose of the poster is it's Mysterio propaganda. It's I believe Mysterio. And then another poster said, Citizens to defend Spidey. So now moving forward, this is our first taste of how the city of New York and the people are going to view Spider-Man after the events of Far From Home. There's going to be a side of New York that believes Spidey is innocent. They're siding with Spidey. They still believe him to be a pure hero. He hasn't done anything wrong, and they are fighting for their hero. Whereas another group of people are fighting for what they perceive to be their hero in Mysterio. And they believe Mysterio and all of the things he said at the end of Far From Home. So, Brad, how do you think, or what do you think about Marvel setting up the city of New York to literally be at odds with each other, for there to be two different sides, one for Spidey, one for Mysterio, going into Spider-Man 3?
I think it sets up that a certain somebody might need an attorney. Um, that's what I'm thinking. But I also believe that Mysterio is not dead. I mean, the
That's what I'm saying.
master of illusions. I mean, in Far From Home, he says they'll see what I want them to see. So you see him die. Perfect. That's what he wants. But yeah, I don't believe he's dead. I would be shocked if he's dead. But yeah, I think the back and forth, the two sides of the coin, like they're going to be coming for him on both sides. And I think it's going to be interesting because he's going to need an attorney. And we speculated this before, whether it's She-Hulk, right? Or Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. So um we're in for a treat with this film, I'm telling you. And we all forget that Doctor Strange is going to be in this film as well.
Yeah, that's
So I really feel like there has to be some connective tissue from WandaVision to Spider-Man 3. Something has to connect.
mm-hmm.
Something has to connect there. So whether it's at the end of WandaVision, we see the multiverse start to collide and break down and fracture, where it bleeds into Spider-Man 3 and then leads into Multiverse Madness. I mean, it's once again, they're the best at storytelling, man. And I can't wait.
Neither can I, dude. Some bright things and some big things are going down over there on the set of Spider-Man 3. And moving forward, hopefully we get some more set pictures. Hopefully we see some bigger stars that are going to be involved in this movie. But, expect some announcements to be happening very soon. That we can expect. I expect some announcements to be going down very soon because, again, it would be a shame for Marvel and Sony to let these major things that are going to be in this movie get leaked through set pictures. So again,
I think it's going to be the Super Bowl. That's my prediction.
Yeah, again, very soon. The Super Bowl is not that far away, and that's the biggest stage of the entire year. So it would make sense for Marvel and Sony to seize that opportunity to announce literally the biggest movie of all time. So that's definitely going to be a stage that all of the eyes are going to be on. So I would expect Marvel and Sony to seize that opportunity. But again, right now, we don't know anything. This is just us speculating. So guys, let us know in the comments down below, in the comments over there on TikTok, Duet the Content on TikTok, sharing us your thoughts on the set photos and the new information we've received regarding Spider-Man 3. With that being said, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to the first Supes Disputes of 2021. We hope you guys enjoyed. We love you guys 3000. And make sure to join us over here on the YouTube channel to watch WandaVision episode 3. We watch these episodes together, experience it for the first time together. And then after that, me, Brad, and the Cosmic Wonder come together and we speculate, we break down, and we review the episodes live over here on YouTube. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. We love you guys 3000, and we'll see you guys next time.